Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're the Movie Couple. I'm Dustin.
I'm Wendy.
And this is our review for Gladiator 2. Years after witnessing the death of Maximus at the hands of his uncle, Lucius must enter the Colliseum after the powerful emperors of Rome conquer his home. With the future of the empire at stake, he looks to the past to find the strength and honor needed to return the glory of Rome to its people. So after 24 years, we are getting a sequel to Gladiator with Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix. Now, when that movie came out, it was a huge hit. It was amazing fights, things that, action scenes that people have never seen before. And the second one really tried to reach out and grab that same kind of magic that the first one possessed. But they still kind of told the same kind of story, but through the eyes of Lucius.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to kind of see history repeat itself, but with somebody new who was inspired by someone who went through the same thing as he did.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's like, obviously it's not copy and paste, and it's also like a Swords and Sandal movie. So there's like a specific, I think, like things that check the boxes. Like movies like this is like, we go in, you sit down, are we not entertained? Yes, you were. And I think what Ridley Scott did really well with this movie, especially now with the budget and obviously like different technology that he has that's available to him now versus what he had back then. I think he really amplified like the Colliseum arena battles, which is like what I was looking forward to the most. Without giving anything away, I just have to like talk about this before we get into specifics about characters and story, is the set design, especially you guys saw in the trailer. If you watched the trailer already, we're going to be referring to it. So if you don't like to watch trailers, this might be a bit spoilery to you. You might want to like skip forward a little bit. But there are scenes that has water involved. And when I first watched the thing, I was like, okay, like they did it in like a small pool and the rest of it are like CGI. And there's two water scenes specifically. I don't want to specify which one I saw just in case you want to be like a little bit more surprised. But the one that I'm talking about in particular, and I think you'll know it when you see it, it's practical, minus a couple of elements that cannot be practical, which when you see it, you will also be like, well, obviously this is not practical. But I was so impressed by the production design and just like the work that goes into creating that. That's something that's tangible for the actors to be a part of. I think that helps the audience and the actors to kind of really be in that moment and to feel everything you need to feel. So I actually really love that scene because that's something I was really looking forward to seeing. And I really enjoyed it. I will also say, in the first movie, the one with Russell Crowe, there were moments where I don't know, do you like sometimes forget you're so into a movie and a story, you forget that you're in a theater, you want to stand up and be like, yeah! I didn't actually feel that in this movie, which is something that I really was like, I want to stand up and be like, yeah! But
and get up and cheer.
I didn't quite connect with it as much as I was hoping to.
Yeah, that was one thing that the first movie did really well, because it started from the beginning. When you were building Russell Crowe's character, you connected with him very much because it is a really fundamental revenge story from the first Gladiator. And then you add in some of the amazing action and some of the costume elements and the sets. The second one did a really good job on capturing the sets and capturing just the visual spectacle, some of the fights, some of the the gladiatorial games are just really well done and really fun to watch. But I do feel like I just wasn't quite grabbed and pulled in as much as I was in that first one. You cared about Maximus. You cared about that revenge story. You hated Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes. And
Joaquin Phoenix did an amazing job. Now, the villains in this movie, the two Emperor brothers, actually were really well portrayed.
Yeah.
I loved the makeup that they did. I loved just the dynamic between the two brothers. And not just the brothers, but everyone, when it came to performances, gave a top-notch performance.
Yes.
I loved the acting in it, but for some reason, I don't know if it was because of the dialogue, there were some moments with some characters where the dialogue seemed a little modern, to where it didn't quite, I'm like, I don't know if Romans would have said it like that.
Yeah.
And it does kind of pull you out of the out of the world and the reality of it. But I still think overall the performances were done very well.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I agree with you on not us not feeling as connected to Lucius, and I was hoping, and there's still a bit of that like revenge story, and for some reason I didn't care enough to be like, yes, I want you to. Obviously, we cheer for the hero to succeed, but what I was really pulled in by was actually you were talking about the political games and who can kind of like win and be on top, and like how every single person had their own agenda. And I think the movie did a really good job of those plot twists and things that you didn't see coming, that I was like, ooh, okay, this is what I'm actually here for. So I'm sad that I wasn't like feeling emotionally connected to a lot of the characters that I was initially going in to be like, yeah, I'm gonna feel connected to this character, and I didn't. But I was surprised by how much I enjoyed kind of like the cat and mouse game of kind of like the Game of Thrones of it all. So I really like that. I also will say I do think Paul Mescal did a really good job as the lead. He really tried to embrace that like Maximus spirit, if you will. So I really like that there. And then another person I really we're not even gonna like talk about like to have to sing Denzel's praises, because I don't think anybody is gonna go in and not be impressed by his performance because it's Denzel. So like I'm just gonna say that, and then we're gonna move on because the man is a legend.
And there's some really brutal moments with Denzel that you're just like, oh, that I thought really helped bring out his character. But for some reason, I mean, like, there are a good amount of character deaths. I'm not going to elaborate, nor I don't want to spoil. But with a lot of those character deaths, you never really were like, I mean, one, I feel like I kind of saw them coming. There were moments where you're like, oh, okay, this person's not going to make it much longer.
Oh.
And sure enough, I feel like, I was able to predict some of them. And also when they did happen, I just wasn't connected enough to these certain characters to be like, to really care or be affected emotionally by their death.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's fair. I will say I was a little bit different. Like there were a few deaths. One, I didn't really see anybody's death coming, because I feel like with a movie like Gladiator, or Gladiator 2, like you just don't know. And I like that because there were a couple of them that I was like, what just happened? And then what just happened? And like I sat there like open mouth, and I was like, okay, I really didn't see that coming. So I like that. I like that they kept me guessing throughout the whole movie. But I do think everybody who, like, if you like Gladiator, the first one, you're gonna go in, you're gonna enjoy this one. If you like the swords and sandals type of movie, you're gonna enjoy the Colliseum stuff. Ridley Scott really raised the bar, in my opinion, on all the arena stuff. The only thing and this is, like really on me as just my experience as a viewer, is that I wish I was able to connect to Lucia's story and like emotionally a little bit more. I think that would have elevated my experience, but otherwise I think everybody is going to have a good time with this one. And do you need to see the first Gladiator? I actually think you should. They do a pretty good job of like, recapping, but I think you will have a better grasp on some of the characters if you watch the first one. So with that said, should we go ahead and rate the movie?
Yep.
All right.
Overall, this movie captured the spectacle, the beauty, the cinematography of it. I feel that it was a little difficult to be able to be grasped and pulled into the movie. Also, it's 2.5 hours long. I feel like there could have been a lot of different things that could have maybe tightened it up a little bit to make it so maybe certain events happened sooner, so you could have been a little bit more attached instead of kind of drifting away from the plot and the story. So I'm going to give this movie a matinee. You should kind of still see it in the theaters just because of some of these amazing spectacle scenes.
Yeah, and I actually agree with you. We have the same rating, which is, I think, kind of rare actually for us. Like, we're usually one off from each other. I will say matinee because I feel like it should be enjoyed on the big screen. I think it was probably filmed. Yeah, I think it was filmed for IMAX. And again, like, I think Ridley Scott, like, really, like, upped the scale on, like, production design and cinematography and all of that stuff. And so go enjoy the sound, have your seats vibrate, when all the booms happen. And yeah, so, but if you Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I was gonna say something else, but I worried that I was gonna give away something. So that is our rating and what we thought of Gladiator 2. Let us know in the comments once you've seen the movie, what you thought of the characters, stories, production, etc. in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. We will see you in the next video. Bye.